Hey,
I've been waiting.
good to see you. How are you?
Very good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. I think I'm one of those few people who's very happy to say I'm doing well. I'm absolutely loving this time off.
That's so great. Did you hear about lockdown 0.3?
Yes, absolutely. And I think which is why this chat now makes so much more sense. Um, because we are now in this longer. uh, I don't know about everybody else, but this has been a question that has been running on my mind for a very long time. That where do you go from here as a sports person or as an athlete? But before we jump right in, I'm going to do a very brief about who Eefa really is for everyone who's joined us in. So Eefa is a fitness lifestyle expert. She has been a personal fitness chef. She specializes in holistic body transformation using nutritional gastronomy, exercise sciences, yoga, and also NLP for behavioral changes, which is where it helps a lot for sports people. She's a TEDx speaker. Aoife has been interviewed on Discovery Channel. She has been a winner of several awards, and her client list includes your favorites: Ritik Roshan, Virat Kohli, Anushka Sharma, Abhay Deol, and just so many more. And Aoife is one of these really amazing people that I know. I have joined her classes. She does these amazing fire walks. So there is a lot to what Aoife brings on the table for us today. And we jump right in with this question, Aoife, that as a sports player, um, how do we see this lockdown now?
Well, I think whether we're into sports or not, the lockdown is it's an extremely challenging time for everybody. But yes, you're right. If you're somebody who's used to being extremely active, being outdoors, I mean, everyone's routines have gone to the dogs. Most people are stuck in their apartments, unable to even step out or go down into their buildings. So it is a challenge, and I think, like in sports, also with all the other professions, everyone's going to need to think differently. And I think the only word that comes to my mind right now, Sonali, is reinvent. We're going to have to reinvent everything. We're going to have to reinvent fitness, nutrition, the way we think, the way we work, all of that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
So as
challenge.
a
Reinventing is the only solution.
as a sports person, how do you actually maintain not only yourself in terms of your physical fitness, mental health, but also your nutrition, especially given the fact that there are so many ingredients, say your basic ingredients also, that a lot of people are struggling with?
I keep making a joke and I say the one trend which used to be eat local, nobody's going to want to eat local after this. Like, I've been
Yes.
stuck in Tabla for the last 2 months because I came here to be with my mom on the first day of the Janta curfew and
Right.
never went back, right? So, I mean, we're only getting things like which grow locally around here. And I mean, of course, it is a challenge. It really, really is a challenge. We
Right.
have to think differently. Nutrition is extremely challenging. We're sitting around not doing much, but we're stressed out. And you're constantly kind of thinking about the future, what's going to happen when we're going to get out of here. So we are burning a lot of glucose. We're burning a lot of mental energy, and that's of course spiked and ignited by carbohydrate. So the craving is going to be for carbohydrate. Nobody's saying, "Oh, I just feel like eating some broccoli." I mean, that's just not happening. Um,
Right.
Stress levels are really high. So, of course, it means that we're going to have to do things very differently. Nutrition is key. It's key right now. Even eating raw is a challenge. A lot of people are afraid to kind of eat salads or have juices. So we're gonna have to be. It's very important. You have to keep yourself really fit. You have to keep thinking of, okay, how do I get my cardio in? How do I maybe work out anaerobically? I've got all my clients to do a lot of stair climbing. So I mean, even if they're living on the 10th floor of a building, they're doing up and down a couple of times, 3 times, 4 times, making sure they're watching their heart rate. But yeah, that's it. That's basically where we are. It's a new world. We've entered a new world.
So, so what you're suggesting here is that as a sports player or as an athlete or somebody who is active, the first and foremost, most important thing is that do not stop doing what you were. At least do the 50% or the 60% of what you were. So players know their drills, they know their fitness, they know their routines. So what you're suggesting is that one thing that they have to do is to continue doing that.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I would not even say cut down to 50% if you can. Of course, what will get cut down are your practice sessions. Those are not going to be possible.
Right.
But as far as your training and your fitness is concerned, as far as your performance and your fitness and your nutrition is concerned, there's absolutely no need to cut back on anything. You know, I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but there's no need to cut back on anything. You can get your cardiovascular training done at home. You can get your anaerobic training done at home. You can get your flexibility, mobility work done at home. So there's zero excuses for us not to do what we're doing. In fact, if any time to be fit, this is the time.
Okay.
This is the time.
Right. So then how do you suggest that people work around their nutrition along with, say, it is possible to do the exercise? Maybe you have your little 10 by 10 square mat that you can work out on. But now, how do you compensate for nutrition? Like you very rightly mentioned that, okay, we're not in this space of, say, eating broccoli. Now, I'm a vegetarian. I would say, hey, I get a lot of my protein from broccolis, but now it's not possible for me to have it.
Or you
Let's
get
have,
broccoli in Bombay.
sorry?
No broccoli in Bombay.
So, well, most times the veggie vendors may not have it, right? So probably they're getting it once in a week, they're getting it once in 10 days. So let's say if I know that, protein is something that I require as an athlete or a sports
Yeah.
person. So how do
Yeah.
you innovate here?
I mean, we still have all the other alternatives that we had even early on. So dairy is really definitely a big option. If you are lactose intolerant or you're just not having dairy in the form of milk, you still have yogurt, you still have soy milk
Right.
as your, and those who are having whey protein, you still have your box of whey protein. So those options are there. We still have nuts and nut butters. Of course, not my
Yes.
favorite. If you're an athlete, you're burning those amount of calories. So, 1 or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter would give you enough protein for about a meal to get
Okay.
by. But yes, it is going to cost you some fat calories, and try to make sure your peanut butter is sugar free. But a handful of nuts would do the job. Sunflower butter, tahini. Hey, tahini is amazing. Tahini is so rich in proteins. It's also really rich in calcium. It's rich in antioxidants, and it's got some fiber. So there are ways of doing it. There's honestly there's no reason. I mean, there's
Right.
absolutely no reason for any of us to go off our plans.
Right. So I'm going to dive into one question that we have over here is that, um, and this question comes from the dew ball family. How can agility and speed be increased in a player who's probably weaker? And how do you develop them in their body strength?
Agility and speed
Yes.
during the lockdown, you mean, or otherwise in sport
So
generally?
it would be during the lockdown or beyond the lockdown as well.
So I would still say like stair climbing remains my favorite. It's I think one of the biggest resources we have if you live in an urban place like Bombay. Uh, work on stair climbing. You can get your speed done there. I've been getting a lot of my clients to do stair climbing with weight. So if you have a kettlebell at home or if you have a dumbbell at home, it, pick up a small thing that's heavy, like a vase or something, anything that just adds some weight on your body, and practice your sprints up and down the stairs. So that would definitely give you speed. I mean, it's not the best thing that you can do, but it's something that you can still do. At least you're going to maintain your level of speed. And I think if you can maintain your level of speed right now, you've got it, because survival right now is key.
Right.
And mobility, if that's what you mean, then I mean, yoga is my favorite, but you can pick something that really works for you. YouTube today is filled with free, amazing content. I keep
Yes.
going to myself a lot of times to check out some of the workouts people are putting up, and I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed, and it's for free. It doesn't
Right.
cost you. So
Right. So is
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
sorry. So I'm going to ask, like, there's another question asking that, okay, so how much time does one actually exercise while now that they are not practicing or playing? So what happens is when you're playing, but most times you don't realize you played probably 3 hours or 4 hours, sometimes just an hour or two. But when you are sitting down and doing this absolutely dedicated exercise at this given time, that, okay, here I am, how do you actually know how much to exercise in terms of keeping your body weight in mind, your body, again, the amount of food that you're eating during the lockdown right now, especially?
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of training. I don't really, the word exercise doesn't really resonate with me. Eating and training resonates with me. Training has a very different function, and I think it's been highly abused. People are using training to lose weight, and that's abusive. You can't really, there's a reason you're training. Cardiovascular training has a purpose, is to train your cardiovascular system. Of course, it's also to train your body to use fat as a source of energy rather than carbohydrate as a source of energy. That's its specific function. Anaerobic training has a very specific function. We're training the muscular and the skeletal structure in the body, those two systems. Um, when you're doing mobility stuff like yoga or stretching or tai chi or pilates or whatever your thing is, we are working at making sure that the joints and that skeletal structure that we have worked at strengthening is now also really agile and fluid in its movement, has that full range of movement in its joints. So this is the reason for training, and I don't buy the idea of training to lose weight. Uh, my formula is very simple. After years and years of training for 3 hours and 20 minutes and 40 minutes, I've tried it all. I've come down to 1 hour. 1 hour for me at the max. If I need to exercise more than an hour in a day, then I really need to review my life and ask myself why I have so much time at hand. Uh,
Right.
Spending 2 or 3 hours doing cardio and then going to the weight room and then doing a yoga session. I mean, what are you exercising for?
Right.
What are you fit for?
Right.
So you
Right.
have a very clear sense of purpose, and you need to know why you're doing this. So purpose first, exercise, training, nutrition, all that is second. So
So
1 hour would be my key formula.
great.
And
So, an absolutely wonderful perspective to this, Eefa, because so many times we are doing things, and like you said, most times we don't really look into what's the purpose, at least as an individual. When you have somebody who's guiding you, yes, you know that, okay, they'll tell you this is for your mobility, and this is for your strength, and this is for your cardio. So, when we are doing things ourselves, at most times, everybody's pretty challenged with the knowledge that they have. There were a few questions that came in. On chats when we sent out about the live. One question that was is, how does somebody who is a vegan or an absolute vegetarian also make up for their protein intake?
I don't think a vegan person can or should focus on making up for their protein intake. I've done a small stint with it. You'll drive yourself mad, so just don't do it. I think veganism is more about beliefs, and that strong sense of belief. Uh, I have seen with people, my clients who have gone vegan, actually changes their biochemistry. And thoughts affect molecules, and molecules are what we are made of. So when you're vegan, I think it is better to kind of focus on really making sure that you have a whole food kind of a diet. So focusing on making sure that you do still have your other food groups. Um, and like I said, nuts. I think, that's like, if I were going to be a long-term vegan person, I would make sure that I would add in a lot of nuts and nut butters into what you're doing, adding some broccoli whenever you can. It
Right.
doesn't naturally to me. So I don't really know. But it didn't work for me. It really hindered my performance. It changed my body composition in ways I did not like. So I came off it. I used to be vegetarian for about 8 years, and I've stopped being that too. I'm a non-vegetarian now. So I think you just need to, when you're vegan, you need to be very sensitive. And there's a whole bunch of protein powders now, vegan protein powders. So, if one of
Right.
those works, great. Although I don't really see the sense in buying dehydrated green peas. I mean, why not
Right.
just green peas, right? Like, why would you
Eat.
dehydrate?
Right. So that brings me to this question, Aoife. A lot of us as sports people, and a lot of them out there, um, they're all kind of having a lot of supplements, right? In so many ways. Like a few common ones that we know is you add a BCA to your water for your, whatever that. So many things that it does, and you're having whey proteins.
Gave me a great idea, Sonali. Actually, BCA would be a fantastic supplement for a vegan athlete.
Oh, perfect. So now my question here is, Aoife, and two questions in one is, do you continue taking your supplements when you are not as active as you are during your playing days? So let's say during this lockdown, do you continue taking BCAA or do you continue taking your whey protein? And at the same time, how important are these things in an athlete or a sports person's life? We also have one more question is, how do you recommend IMF and how many calories shall we intake during IMF? So of course you can split this and answer as per your.
Okay, so the first question was, should an athlete continue taking supplements during lockdown? Did I get you right? Was that the question?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so because your training load is not as much. So now it depends what you're taking the supplement for. If you are
Right.
taking some like an L-carnitine for releasing more energy and burning more fat, you would have to cut it down slowly. Of course, any supplement you wouldn't just stop taking it or just build up the load. Uh, I wouldn't be doing supplements during lockdown because what do you need it for, right? Like except your multivitamin and your antioxidants. That is something.
Right.
So those are the supplements I would really be taking. Any kind of an antioxidant and your vitamins, minerals, I think they're very key right now, especially if you're not eating raw. You really want to make sure that your antioxidants are really stacked up. Another kind of supplement that I would continue, my clients continue is something if they were taking something for their gut, uh, because we are all looking at immunity right now. So any kind of
Yes.
supplements would help our immunity is key right now. I would definitely recommend A, C, uh, B's, D's, all of those. So a good, robust amount of multivitamins and antioxidants. Anything again, like I said, that'll keep your gut clean. Supplements, even herbal supplements like Brahmi and Triphala. These are supplements which would really help right now with keeping you
So
psychologically in good.
if I can
Yeah.
ask you to add in here, are there any gut supplements or these gut recipes that we can make at home right now? So like I'm aware kanji, the Indian kanji that we make at home, with carrots and beet or
Right.
yes, so either rice water or, when we make it up north with the mustard and the water and just the vegetables and you ferment it for 3, 4 days. So, is there anything like that you can
Wow,
actually
I
now?
wasn't aware of that. I didn't know
Really?
that. I didn't know that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you about it more. So
Too much.
I
Yeah.
just got it made today because that's when I realized that hey, it's been a while and gut is something that you really need to kind of work on. So I got that much made and I will consume it now through the week. So is there anything that comes to your mind that you think somebody can now, prepare at home of as a gut food? Like yogurt is again something
Yogurt,
that's a gut food.
yogurt is number one. Yogurt is number one, and 2 to 3 servings of yogurt should be a part of everybody's life and lifestyle and nutrition, unless you're of course vegan and not consuming dairy. Uh, I don't really do too much of stuff at home, but like I just make sure that everything I eat is natural. So my food needs to be compatible to my digestion. If I need to take something for my digestion, then first one I need to look at what I'm consuming. Is it too much of beans that are not working for me? Is it a certain combo that's not working for me? So I look more in that sense, and I would just do a supplement. So a supplement like India is full of herbal supplements. Triphala is my favorite, though it is just for overall gut health. It's not like it would cause any
Right,
kind of such. But
right.
there's a whole bunch of different herbs that you can just like over the counter herbs that you could just pick up and make great stuff for you.
Right.
But number one. So
Right.
Isabgol, like all of us who live in India, we are blessed because such Isabgol is, I think, like if I was investing in the shares of a company, it would be in Sat Isabgol. It's such a fantastic product, you know.
Yes.
No, you're not
Yes,
paying me.
yes, it actually has. Yes, yes, it is one of these absolute wonder products.
Right. And anybody who's listening to us, please don't buy that Dabur shit. It's like full of baking soda and sugar. But the brand, the telephone brand, the old cardboard box, it's such a
Yes,
super beautiful supplement. But if you are cutting back on carbohydrates, which most people are at this time, being careful with their carbs, then you are missing out to replace that fiber with a little bit of isopro. Like that. For me, those are gut supplements. And of course, what you said, fermented foods is fantastic. If you have the time and the inclination to make some kombucha or ferment some cabbage or whatever you can
so
ferment.
kombucha. Yeah, so kanji is kind of a kombucha only, but it's of course your Indian version up north that we all make it, and it's pretty much similar to a kombucha.
Nice. I have to get that recipe from you.
I'm gonna text you that. So my question here is that during now the lockdown, say our bodies are are so aware. Our bodies are like one of the best I think aware conscious systems that we have on planet Earth, even better than our mind, because our bodies know far ahead of what our mind can think, right? So it also adapts very soon, like you when we talk about muscle memory, right? There's our bodies adapt very soon. We've been in this lockdown now for say 2 months almost. We may have another month to go. uh, our bodies would have adapted to this kind of change as well. So what do we do, or how do you transition post the lockdown into getting back with your game, with with your exercising, with kind of going back into the system again?
Yeah. So, Sonali, I don't think going back into the system is going to be a problem for anybody at all. It's like we're all just going to want to get out of the house and stay there if, if rules and regulations allow us. So, I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. In fact, people are going to be very over enthusiastic, people are going to be over motivated. And, my prediction is, or rather, I shouldn't be predicting, I should be saying, let's be careful and make sure we don't injure ourselves, because most sports injuries happen during that time when you're over enthusiastic, over motivated, and do too many
Right.
things at the same time. But to answer your question simply, you do exactly what you did during lockdown. You adapt. I
Right.
mean, that was a great word you use. You adapt and you jump back. I can't think of anybody who's going, I don't want to go back on the field. I mean, everybody's going to want to go
and
back on.
and like very rightly said, right? So this is the time when you go back is when you are most likely to get injured. You're also most likely to make the mistakes, because it's something like when you've been fasting for a day and the next day you kind of go and eat out and you feel
Yeah,
heavy
binge,
because you
binge.
fasted. Yes, so the binge then kind of hurts because you've it just so before we talk more, there are a few questions that I would like to take while we're in conversation. One is, what
Okay.
type of a health drink should you take during this period of lockdown?
It's called wine.
Yeah,
Champagne pie case, which I haven't had for 2 months now. You
yeah,
know what I'm
I
going
know.
to be binging on? I'm going to be binging on champagne. No, a
Yes,
health
I'm gonna come join you.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of green juice, so that's my favorite thing. I do. I just juice some cucumbers with green chili, jalapeno, add some lime juice to it, add a little bit of salt, serve it on ice. That's my thing right now, because you want to have drinks which are low in calories, vegetable based. Sometimes I'll just add like an apple to it, or maybe a pear, and that's about what I've been doing. But yeah.
So again, like you mentioned, YouTube, and my favorite is Pinterest, because I find the most amazing recipes on Pinterest. it's like my go-to place. So there are zillions of recipes on health drinks, on like you name it, and it's there. So yes, that could be one of the options for someone to look at more recipes. There is also somebody who's asking, what's the importance of nutrient timing? How important is it to consume your nutrition at a given time? Is there something like that? And then what exactly would it be?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Not too many people think about that. But again, to make it really simple, and maybe I'm oversimplifying it, so forgive me, but because we have a little bit of time short. Nutrient timing, the easiest way to figure out when you should be eating your carbs, proteins, and fats is this. Every time you're sitting down to eat, ask yourself what you're going to be doing for the next 3 hours. If you're going to be training heavily for the next 3 hours, make sure that it is you're going to enjoy your 2 servings of carbohydrate or 3 servings of carbohydrate as you're doing it. But if you're going to be going to sleep, then it's a good time to really take in your proteins and fats. I know it's not new, but I'm not going to try to reinvent that wheel. When you're going to sleep, you need the fat so that your hormonal makeup can be nice and steady. That's the time your body is rejuvenating and repairing itself. So you do want to make sure you get that small amount of protein in. Of course, not too much, depending on what you've also done. If you have not really done a workout, there's only so much protein you need to be taking. You don't need to eat 250 grams of chicken for dinner. You shouldn't be needing 250 grams of anything for dinner. So making sure that you have a lot of variety. But as far as nutrient timing is concerned, yeah, make sure you're doing your grains at a time that you're going to be active for the next 2 or 3 hours. Make sure you're doing your proteins and fats at a time you're going to be resting and sleeping. Make sure you do your sweets 2 hours post workout, because that's the time your body has a very high tolerance for high sugar and carbohydrates. So my favorite time.
Right. And then we have
hey, Sonali.
One more question on what's the best time to use BCAA, and also intermittent fasting. Do you think would be a great option at this time?
Okay, first with the BCA, the best time to have BCA pre-workout. That's the best time to have it. Yeah. And what was the other one? Sorry.
So is intermittent fasting now the best time, the best option for people? And do you really recommend intermittent fasting as well?
I don't recommend. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't recommend any kind of a fad. I'm not one for fads. I think fads are great, and we should all be they're just like fashion, right? So a fad that comes in fashion, we should all kind of be on top of it. Yeah, maybe experiment with it if you are healthy enough and you can absorb the damage if there is going to be any damage. Would I make it like a huge part of my wardrobe? I don't think so. Bell bottoms came back into fashion. Yeah, sure, I'll have a pair of bell bottoms in my wardrobe and flaunt them around with a pair of heels sometime. Will I change all my jeans to bell bottoms? No. That's not going to happen. Also, if a particular fashion doesn't suit my personality, then I'm just going to chuck it and not try too hard to make it a part of my lifestyle. It's the same with fads. Just the thing with nutritional fads, they're going to cost you a lot of metabolic damage. So be careful. Yes, if you're in your 20s, maybe you can get away with doing some damage, but there is going to be a price to pay in your 30s or your 40s and your 50s. So be careful. Be careful when you're going in for fads. I don't recommend intermittent fasting. There is a time and place for intermittent fasting, but those are some very serious cases. Like, yes, we have seen that it helps maybe with some cases of bone cancer. People have shown some positive results. But I don't really, it's too harsh. Yeah. Anything that's not sustainable is, I'm a fan of sustainability. For me, the first word with food, with exercise, with lifestyle, with homes, with money, with friends, with all of that, is this sustainable? If it's not sustainable, I don't waste my time and money.
Right. And That's yeah, it does. And it kind of also, there's again a lot of insight into what you're saying, because food, exercise, a lot of these things also come again with you kind of understanding who you are, you also knowing what you want, what is the end result that you're looking at, and also making a few mistakes to kind of understand what your body is all about, right? Like one man's food could be another man's poison.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely true.
So to sum it up, Aoife, it has it has been not only just talks on nutrition, but also so much of insight that you give from your years of experience, and the behavioral changes that you talk about to bring about in a person, and which is why somebody like you comes in so much. Okay, we have one more question. What is the next 21-day challenge we all should take? I think the next 20 challenge, if I can answer this, Aoife, is for 21 days really go within, because this has been my mantra ever since the lockdown has started. I said, please go within. This is the best time for you to find yourself. This is also the best time for you to experiment with whatever is going on, with whatever foods you want to experiment, because you don't even have to step out. So it's really the best time.
Yeah, and there's a 21-day challenge coming up. There's one coming for sure.
So I'm gonna get on to the 21-day challenge as well. For everybody who's here, Aoife does a lot of 21-day challenges. The best part is that most of these challenges also have a great fire walk alongside on the last day, and that's the bigger challenge. So for everybody who would want to get on, please follow Isha and do get on the challenges. I think we do a little bit of a issue with Aoife's connection. We have you back. Isha, there's just one question more. Supplements for a pre-workout, during workout, and post-workout for a player.
Sorry, can I ask what kind of a player, aerobic or anaerobic? What kind of a sport, please?
I think we are looking at. I think it's he is a badminton player, as much as I know.
Badminton. Uh,
Hmm.
that would be a mix of more aerobic, less anaerobic.
Right.
Just making sure you have a good shot of coffee before you get into training would actually be a very good pre-workout supplement. Making sure they have enough of carbohydrate and glucose to keep their performance up uh, is definitely something good to. Yeah, I think I see it as badminton, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
pre-workout, yeah, BCA would be nice over here. BCA and I think what would be really nice, and I like to keep even my supplements natural as far as possible. So just doing a really nice smoothie with maybe I would do a smoothie if I were playing badminton. Then I would do soy milk or yogurt, and I would put it together with a banana, a teaspoon of honey, a good sprinkle of cinnamon to make sure that the blood sugar stays stable. The honey will give enough glucose for the game going. The banana will make sure that if there's any kind of inflammation in the body due to overtraining, it will keep the inflammation down. And the yogurt or the whey or the soy milk will make sure that you have enough protein so that your muscle performance stays up and you don't lose any muscle if you'll end up training too long. BCA would
Right.
be a nice supplement to sip during your game,
Right.
along with.
And
So
then
I hope.
is there anything? So post games, you would suggest taking whey protein?
Post games, I don't. Yeah, I mean, technically, that is what you should be taking. Depends whether you have broken a lot of muscle down. I think the problem is that people just take it as a rule. Now, if you're not an anaerobic player and you haven't broken down a lot of muscle, there's really no need to take a lot of whey protein. Like, what are you taking it for, right? If you haven't
Right.
broken down. So, if your game or your training was more aerobic, then even just doing like a bunch of nuts if you don't have a weight issue, if you're not trying to cut weight for competition
Right.
time, doing some nuts or even just doing I love doing a toast with honey post workout.
Right.
So like I've had a
Right.
very big aerobic workout, then just toast with a little bit of paneer or cottage cheese, or some form of a natural easy cheese with a little bit of honey is my favorite thing. It makes sure that it takes care of any loss of glucose and glycogen from my muscles. Because the last thing you want is muscle breaking down. But yes, the last thing you also want is that dip that will come with your energy. Because if that dip comes, then you are going to binge and gorge on too large a meal later on. And your weight issues are going to hinder you from there on.
Right, right. So, thank you so much, Eefa. I think we are going to have to end today. We've gone a little beyond what we were looking at.
Yeah.
There are lots and lots of questions. I'd suggest why don't you just send it out to me on the direct message, and we'll get them out to you and have Isha answer them. Follow her on her Instagram,
Eefa.
Facebook, and Eefa Shrof. There is some Isha who's
Yes.
definitely up here. So I'm sorry. Please do follow her, and yes, you can engage with her
Follow us
directly.
on
Keep
Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and I have a
yes.
website that's www.eefashrof.com. That's EEFASHROF.com. So please follow us. Please ask lots of questions. I love answering questions. So stick with it and stay healthy, guys. We've still got some more days to go in lockdown. So I hope everyone is going to make the most of it and come out of it leaner, meaner than ever before.
Thank you, Aoife. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank you,
having me.
everyone, for being on this. Thank you,
Bye bye.
everyone. Thank you so much. Bye bye.